Welcome everyone to our live event. I'm going to start with a few logistics here to get started. I'm Tracy Fierce, Vice President of Corporate Communications for Magna International, and co-hosting with me today is my dear friend, Patrick Lee, Senior Marketing Manager. And so for those of you not familiar with Magna, we are a global mobility technology company, one of the largest suppliers in the automotive space. So simply put, if you have a car or a truck passenger, you have probably experienced a Magna component or system on it. We're that big. And for the second year in a row, and why we're here today to talk is we've given some select employees an opportunity to participate in Rebelle Rally. And Patrick, I got to ask you, when I say Rebelle Rally, first thing that comes to your mind?
Gosh, I would say a group of strong, incredible women that are super brave, doing something that most people would never even think of doing out in the desert for 8 days without any modern electronics.
Yep. Well, you got it. And listen, the real description is it's the first women's off-road navigation rally raid in the United States. It tests the skills of these individuals over a grueling 8 days of competition. It spans over 2,000 kilometers in a desert of all places, right? And mountain terrain. And these participants are out there driving and navigating without really any electronics. And in this day and age to do that, I can't even fathom it. So this year we did at Magna, we did an internal submission contest. We asked women throughout our company, throughout the globe, to say, hey, listen, if you want to participate in this, send us a 30 to 45 second clip and telling us why you should be picked. And we have 4 that were picked, so well deserving. When they sent their videos in, it was amazing to see what they do at Magna, but outside of Magna too. And so we selected them, we sent them out for training, and then we pretty much put them off the grid and said, there you go. We're giving you 2 Jeeps, go have some fun. And so we call our 2 teams Force to Femme. We've got Force to Femme 1, Force to Femme 2, and we've brought them on today with us to talk about their incredible experiences, their challenges, their triumphs, everything they faced during this competition as first-time racers. So welcome, Kat, Kirsten, Olivia, Lindy. We are so happy to see all 4 of you ladies today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And before the live event here took place, these ladies just went through this grueling challenge, and they're more nervous, some of them, about this live event than they are about what they just went through. So we promise to make it easy on you. If you listeners have questions, pose them up to us. We'll fit them in. We're going to try to spend the next hour just grilling these ladies on what their experiences was. So let's get started. I got to ask you, and I'm going to ask all 4 of you this question. Knowing what you know now, why pitch to participate in something like Rebelle Rally? And Kirsten, we're going to start with you.
Okay, well, for me, it was like when Magna sent its first team to the rally in 2022. That's what made me actually look it up. What is the Rebelle Rally? And then I thought, wow, this is so cool. Like, how did Michelle and Sri get so lucky to be selected for this, you know? And then I was determined if there was ever another opportunity that I wanted to submit my name as well. So it really incorporates like everything. Like there's like this amazing scenery. You challenge yourself, the landscape, the camping. So yeah, I was determined that I would apply for it if there was an opportunity, and it presented itself this year.
Great. Kat, what about you?
So to be honest, at first I didn't really pay attention to the internet post, and then a few colleagues came up to me and they were convinced that I was the right person for such an extraordinary event. And with my limited time, I didn't take it too serious at first. But luckily, one colleague didn't give up, and he was sending me links over and over. And yeah, but to be honest, by the time I saw the first video, I was already hooked on the rally, and then I knew I have to do this.
So we'll talk about why you're not looking at the internet posts later, coming from the comms person of the department. But we'll let that go for now, and we want to hear from Lindy and Olivia. Same question, ladies. Lindy.
I've always been a person that wants to do anything that seems outlandish or fun. And so I also had someone tell me about it, and I started looking at what is the Rebelle Rally. And at first I was like, oh yeah, this looks awesome. You're just going to drive off-road cars and beautiful scenery. I'm in. So I did my video. I'm like, I'm going to do this. Little did I know what it was actually going to take. But we got there and it was just like, this is something I have to do.
All right, Olivia.
At first, I didn't really want to apply because I was a little nervous when I saw like online what people were doing. And then I had some colleagues, my manager and a good friend of mine, who had seen it, and they sent me the links, and they're like, you should apply for this, you should do it. And I was like, okay, if someone believes in me and believes I can do it, if one person believes I can do it, then I'll try, I'll see what I can do. But I was a little nervous as to who I might get paired with, because you had to apply individually. And I was just like, I don't know who I'd get paired with. I don't know who they would be. But I think the team did an excellent job of pairing me and my partner, because yeah, we clicked really well. Yeah.
That's great. And I have to say, the video, all of you did an outstanding job on your submission videos. I was blown away by all the submissions, but you four got selected by a panel of judges that we had. And Lindy, for not knowing really what you were getting into, I have to say, Lindy probably texted me or emailed me every single day. Did you get my video? Have the judges made a decision? Are you?
Are we there? Else? What's going to happen?
What are we doing here? You said the deadline's this, and I haven't heard anything like it. So
I did.
I got to ask you, not knowing what you were getting into and wanting it so bad, what's the one thing, Lindy, that surprised you the most that you might have learned from yourself throughout this whole experience?
Oh, from myself? I think like I'm 42, so I'm in that middle age where I'm just comfortable doing life and doing the things that I enjoy doing, and I don't really push myself to learn new things. So I think I surprised myself that I could learn something like navigation, which is something that is like a lifelong tool that some of these people have been doing. It's not an easy thing to learn, and we pretty much got thrown into it at the rally. Like, we did get training and we did work on it, but the training was just 1% of what you actually have to do. And the hands-on was pretty hard, but it actually helped push me to you don't have a choice. So you have to learn it, you have to do it. And it taught me that like I can really do way more things than I think I can, and I can learn a whole lot more still.
So really what this means is that you can really tell your husbands or significant others that you really do know where you're going when they want to argue with you, right?
100%.
Better than them, Patrick.
That's right, exactly.
100%.
So, preparing for such an intense event must have been quite the journey. Kat and Kirsten, especially coming from other countries, how did you guys prepare for the rally, physically and mentally?
Okay, should I start with the answer?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, okay. For me, it was definitely a journey. And I didn't feel like I have really to prepare myself physically, but for sure mentally. And the idea for to navigate with just a map and a compass, it was really exciting, but it was definitely one of the biggest challenge, I think. And I would think about it, how I can prepare for this. And I started to make some geocaches in the hiking map. And on my hiking trips, we were searching for the geocaches. But I also realized that the available maps in Austria are not suitable for that because of because of the geogrid and stuff. And then I had really a marathon trip from bookstore to bookstore, and I ended up to make my own maps for the hiking. It was really
Wow.
tough, but yeah, we had all our fun with the geocaches, the whole family.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Kirsten, how about you?
Well, it was also the navigation aspect is really crucial. And so actually, once we were registered for the rally, we could also log on to the competitor zone, and there were a lot of instructional videos that you could use to practice. So I practiced with all those videos, but then we also had about a month before we headed out to the rally, we had also some really good training that prepared us actually also really well for the rally. So like a lot of off-road driving. I hadn't done any off-roading before, so that was really essential. And also the like when you were in the rally and you were facing situations where it looked maybe a bit challenging, like can we actually muster this terrain, or like is that too dangerous? You kind of and then you kind of think back, okay, what did we do in the training, and then what did our instructors say? And so you just kind of fall back, and then you tell yourself, yes, we can do it, and let's do it and attempt it. And yeah, so actually just echoing also like the comments from our training was really helpful in trying to get through these situations, and helped in the preparation for what we were for the challenges that we were facing in the rally.
Yeah,
So
I think
I'm
that's a
glad
good.
you mentioned. Sorry, Patrick.
No, I was
please
gonna say I think that's a good point because we picked participants that did not necessarily have off-road driving experience, right? We just picked people that we thought would succeed, and we provided the off-road training. So that's good to hear that it worked out well.
And we did more training this time than we did our first team a couple of years ago. So we're getting
Yeah.
better at getting our drivers ready. But listen, for our listeners out there, and I'll throw this to any one of you, like this is we mentioned 8-day challenge, but you're literally off the grid in the desert. You're popping up your tent every night to sleep in, right? You've got certain checkpoints that you have to make it to. And I know Lindy and Olivia, when the race first started and we were tracking you, because we at home could track you were, I don't know where, way off.
You were sightseeing. You were sightseeing, okay?
Because right, you're trying to navigate with like a compass and maps. I mean, like old, like tell our listeners, like what's that? That to me is daunting. I have no direction. I'm navigationally challenged, right? So I would not be able to do that. You got off course, you got on course, but just maybe give a little bit about what that really day-to-day experience looks like. Olivia, please, or Lindy.
It was tough. There were definitely times it happened every day, actually, around probably 2:00. Lindy and I, we would just get frustrated, and it would just go silent in the car. And that silence, your partner's frustrated. Either you got stuck driving over something, or you got lost, and one of you will look at the map and be like, where are we right now? And we'll be like, I have no idea. So then you have to try and get out of that and get back on track, and then you've already lost time, so it's frustrating. And we look at each other and just silence. And then for Lindy and I, we had on our dashboard a couple words. Right before we started, we wrote on a Post-it, and we posted it on our dashboard, and we're like, this is why we're here. What did it say again, Lindy? I'll let you.
I said, have fun, be friends, and finish.
Yeah, the 3 big F's.
Great.
So
3 F's.
3 big F's. Yeah, have fun, be friends, and finish. And those were the important kind of 3 goals that we had for this. And we're like, look, if we're not having fun, we need to remember to be friends and to finish. So we had kind of, our fun meters, and we were always trying to, it was kind of just a check in with yourself, check in with what's going on, and make sure that you're here for the right reasons.
I want to talk about that fun-o-meter, because I met you at the, perfect. So getting ready for training, of course, these ladies don't know what they're getting in for. So they're all jolly and happy, and it's bright early in the morning. We're sending off to training. They're seeing the Jeeps for the first time, I think. And Olivia's wearing her fun-o-meter, and it was like all the way over, like to having fun. Right. But then she gets home from the actual competition. I saw she posted, I think it was on your LinkedIn, you post blood, sweat, and tears. And I went, ooh, I'm not sure the fun-o-meter was still at that side. So you do mention fun. What? And again, Kat and Kirsten, jump in here. Like, was it fun, or was there ever a time where you said, what in the heck am I doing? I don't want to do this. I want to go home. I miss my family. I don't want to do this. Like,
there was definitely times that you would say that to yourself, like, what am I doing out here away from everything that makes me happy and comfortable? So yeah, you did have those down times. You also had very fun times where you were doing fun driving, or you meet really, really amazing people. And I think that part is probably some of the most fun, is the times that you have maybe in the evenings when you're with everyone else. But it does get really difficult, and the fun-o-meter moves throughout the day from it's great to it's not great. But I think, I've gotten this question a million times since I've gotten back. Oh, it looked like you had so much fun. Did you have fun? And I think the best way to describe it is, it's not fun like you're going on vacation. It's not fun like, oh, I'm going for a weekend off-roading. But it's fun in a way of figuring out like yourself and how to push yourself through very, very difficult things. I think the best way to describe it is like, can I emotionally and physically get through this and not allow it to break me? And if I can do that, then I have succeeded. And I think we all feel like we did that. So that's all we can hope for.
And it's definitely an endurance challenge, because it goes over the 8 days, and it's very long days every day. You have to get up early and then get going, and so that becomes also very very challenging or draining to get through.
I think too, there's 3 types of fun. This is kind of how we define it, and I'm a type 2 fun person. So there's fun. Type 1 is fun while it's happening. It's fun when you look back. Type 2 is it's not fun when it's happening, but it's fun when you look back. And then type 3 is it's not fun when it's happening, and it's not fun when you look back. Shouldn't have happened. So I'm type 2, and I, like, even I compare it to running a marathon. The training, it sucks. Running the marathon, it sucks. The couple weeks of recovery, they suck. But when you look back a year or 2 or 10 years later, and you're like, I'm so proud of myself, I'm glad I did that. That's kind of like what this was. It was a lot of work, a lot of training, a lot during the actual marathon, and a lot of recovery. But looking back, you're like, wow, I did that.
Yeah.
What was it like camping in the desert in a tent? Anyone that wants to answer that question.
Kirsten
It
knows.
was hot.
Was it hot? Was it uncomfortable?
It was hot. It was very uncomfortable at times. I think the worst part is that I guess California has been in a drought for 195,000 years, because it was so silty and so sandy everywhere you went. You couldn't get away from it. And so we luckily got to go through 2 different nights of windstorms. One was at a dry lake bed where it kind of started early on in the dinner process. And so we knew that it was bad. Like, we had to wear our goggles and our buffs just to walk from the main tent to our regular tents, and went to sleep in that. So you woke up with like inches of silt on you and your sleeping bag and everything that you had in the tent with you.
In your hair, in
so
your mouth.
everywhere. And so that happened, and then we went to the dunes the next day. So we were like, oh, we're good, we're done. And the dune day was beautiful. It wasn't windy or anything. We self-camped, so we were outside cooking dinner and doing that kind of stuff. It was still fine. And then we went to bed that night, and we got woke up to another one, and the tents were and that one was bad enough that the media team came to us the next morning when we were packing up our tents and asked us how we survived the sandstorm. So you definitely went through a lot in the tents, but they were kind of like your little refuge. It was the only time that you were kind of by yourself, and you were able to like kind of like get yourself back together. So in a way, we hated the tents. Like packing that tent back into that bag every day was horrible. But it was also like your little place of happy.
Yeah. And you got to take showers in there somewhere, right? Or was it no like 8 days of no showering?
No, you got to take showers. They had showers. Sometimes they weren't extremely available, but the dude wipes are your best friend. I can tell you that.
Yeah,
That's
but
the way to go.
at the first day we had just 4. I remember 4 showers for 68
Teams, yeah.
teams.
There was like
Yeah.
two.
So
There was
it
like
was not a
250
lot.
people.
So they said, don't have a shower if you don't need it. Yes. And okay.
Easier said than done.
Yeah, no doubt.
So I know you have a question for Lindy and Olivia Patrick, and I can't wait to hear the answer to this one.
I have to ask. Talk to me about the Jeep mirror. What happened to this thing?
So
Okay, so
that day,
you want to go or you want me to go?
I'll let you start with
Who's
the
got the
navigation.
Who's
Linda's
got the
navigating.
story? Who's got the truth? That's what we want. So who's going to do
So-
what here?
Olivia is the navigation queen, and I'm the navigation rookie. And so she thankfully has been teaching me throughout the rally, and even before the rally, we did homework and all that stuff. So it was my day to navigate, and I was really nervous about it, but I'm like, let's go, let's do it. And we started out with an enduro, which an enduro is like a step-by-step guide on how to get somewhere exactly by the distance. And it was actually a timed enduro, so you had to do it on time. So you had to meet each of your steps on time. And so
checkpoint is like within 4 seconds. To get any
Correct.
point, you have to be to a certain point within 4 seconds. Yeah.
Okay.
So we get going. Of course, it's like 7 in the morning. They always start you with the sun in your face. It's always foggy. And like I said, it hasn't rained in like 9,000 years. And so the dust is terrible. Like the cars are off the line every minute. And so we get going and we can't see anything. Like we're rolling in blindness. And we make it through our first waypoint. And I know we have to make a right. And so I'm like, okay, turn right. And so she turns right and we get going, and we have to go like 3 or 4 kilometers down this road. And I quickly learned that like our next turn, there's nothing around us that looks like what they're telling us it should look like. And I looked at Olivia and I'm like, don't be mad at me, but I'm pretty sure I ruined the whole enduro because I turned you the wrong way. And she was like, okay. And so we have to turn around and we have to go back and figure out like, where did we go wrong and how do we get back on track? And so we start going and we figure out where we're at and we start hitting it. And Olivia is driving.
I was trying to make up time. I was trying to make up some
Trying to
lost
make
time.
up time.
I was like,
There it
don't
is.
worry. We'll just go twice as fast as we need to go, and we'll make up the time that we lost.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we're driving fast, and I think I was going probably about 70. And
Kilometers
this was on
an hour.
In the
70
desert?
kilometers
There you go.
on like dirt road through the desert. You've got rocks, you've got
Didn't hear that.
trees, you've got
Didn't hear
cattle.
You definitely have cattle.
You've got cows and stuff everywhere, and all of a sudden, out of the
Please tell me you
blue,
didn't hit a cow. Please tell me you did not hit a cow.
No, we had to
That was
stop
another
the
day.
cow.
That
That
was
was a
another
different day.
but on this day, on the mirror day, this Joshua tree, I'm driving down this road, and it comes out of nowhere, and it throws me.
They
I love
move
trees.
rapidly, I hear. Those trees.
Yep,
They
they're
will
trained
come
well.
at you.
And he came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden, I'm looking there. My mirror's there. I look back at Lindy. I look back, and the mirror's gone. And I look at Lindy, and she's like, maybe we should. I'm like, no, we don't have any time. We can't. And I'm like, we're going straight forward. And so
Yeah, that's okay.
I guess the case had just exploded. And when it hit, it sounded like a bomb went off in the car.
Yes.
And so when we got to the end, I'm like, don't worry, I engineer. I can fix this. We can fix this. So I'm like finicking with it, and I ended up getting the bevel thing back in, and it was in. But the rest of the week, we had a lot of people ask us about our mirror, and
I'm sure.
Magna makes the mirror, and we'd have a lot of blind spot warnings, like a lot pop up on that mirror, and every once in a while it would kind of just jostle loose and fall out. But it was a real it was a test of patience for us. And I was going to say, if we do make that mirror, spot on, because if you drive 70 kilometers an hour into a tree and it's still there and it's working, that's, a good mirror.
That's incredible. So some archaeologist 1,000 years from now is going to dig up these plastic pieces in the middle of the desert and wonder what the heck happened.
Yeah, for sure.
What it is. But we got a question. We got a couple questions coming in from our listeners, but I should have done this in the logistics in the beginning. Let's tell our listeners what you do during your day job. Olivia, you just mentioned obviously engineering. So let's start with you. What's your day job?
So I work with our technical demo team, and we actually do system integration. We take our parts from the electronics group, like our thermal cameras, radar cameras, LiDAR. We integrate them into a vehicle, and then we actually provide demos. So we get these whole systems up and running together for self-driving, active safety, and then we provide customer demos at conferences like CES and lots of other demos, conferences to customers throughout the year.
That's great. Kirsten, tell the group what you do for Magna.
Well, I'm a patent agent, and I work in the corporate office in Aurora, Canada. And so I work in the legal department and we're kind of divided up. So in particular, I'm working mostly with the Cosmo Group and with the Stronach Center for Innovation, and protecting our patent applications, our inventions that coming out of these divisions.
And then Kat, you're coming to us from Europe. So tell the team what you do.
So I'm working at Magna Powertrain in Lannach, Austria, and I do some development work on the functions for the all-wheel drive system and also the e-drive systems. And it mainly includes the specification and application and verification of the function. And sometimes we have also to improve some quality if when there are complaints from the field or something like that. So
And then not last but not least, Lindy.
I'm in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and I work for Cosma, the structures division of Magna. I'm a commercial coordinator, so that means that I quote to the customer. So my account is Ford. And so we quote any engineering changes, we quote the new business to continue to keep our plant going and keep the profitability of the company going.
Yeah, and when we set out to do this, again, when we did it a couple of years ago, we sent one team, 2 engineers. This year, again, we did the internal submission contest, if you will, and we got so many good submissions. It was really hard. But then when the judges came down to rating or ranking, if you will, these 4 individuals, it was so close, and we had such great diversity from engineering to legal to our division to 2 countries. I keep saying Olivia's American, but she's actually born in Canada. So representing 3 countries, like it was a perfect match. And we said, we've got to send 2 teams. And our leadership team was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's send them. I mean, they were so impressed by the submissions in these 4 individuals. I think next year or the next time we do it is going to be really hard to match or be at the benchmark that you all have set. But we've got a couple questions in the queue here, so I want to get to them. First one, this one's really great. And Linda, you mentioned weeks of recovery after. Kirsten, you talked about endurance during, but what would you say was the most painful part of the entire journey? Kat, let's start with you. What was the most painful part of it? physically. Mentally is a whole different story, I think.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
should stop. Okay, physically. Actually, I think it was pretty hard to wear the helmet all the day. And every night I had so much neck pain for the first 3 days. It was really hardcore. Yeah.
Yeah. Kirsten?
Well, the sleep deprivation was definitely a challenge.
Yeah.
And also, I think like physically painful was also like we hit some pretty tough bumps, and I had some issues with the seatbelt. It actually cut into my neck, and I had like bruises on my chest. So that was actually real physical pain. And then being in the car, continuing to off road, it's kind of like it's all a little bit painful. So yeah. Anyways, but we all managed.
Wow.
Lindy, Olivia, anything to add?
I think on my side, the physical, painful part, and everybody will know this because I probably complained about it a lot. Hunger. I was hungry all the time. I unfortunately have a lot of food restrictions, and there wasn't a lot of options for me. And so it got really hard to function on really low calories. So that was probably the hardest part physically.
Noted for next time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm trying to, it was a lot of back pain for me. I'm tall, so trying to map and get down at a table level and always be bent over and like for so many hours every morning, like 2 to 3 hours, you're just bent over a table mapping, and like my low back was killing me. And then of course from the helmet, you're looking down while navigating, so you're like holding your map looking down the entire time too, so that hurts your neck with the weight of the helmet. So my neck and back were just so sore the entire time.
Yeah,
lots of sitting like 12 hours a day driving on top of mapping and stuff. So it was a lot
That's
of
tough.
sore back and neck.
Well, and let's talk about the vehicles that you had. And Patrick, for those that don't know, Patrick works within our powertrain team, and that Patrick and the team do such an awesome job getting these vehicles ready for Magna to compete. And so Patrick, maybe I'm going to throw this question to you. Maybe talk about the two vehicles a little bit and kind of what you guys have to do to get them ready for these ladies. And then when Patrick's done, we have a question. I'm interested to hear the ladies think, like, what would your pick be next year for a vehicle, knowing what you saw out there from ICE to, I think there's ICE, I think there's hybrid, and I think there's EVs out there, right, that are competing in this. So maybe Patrick, talk a little bit about the vehicles themselves and what we had to do to get them ready.
Yeah, so luckily here at Powertrain, we have a handful of vehicles. We make four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive systems and transmission products. So we happen to have a fleet of four-wheel drive vehicles. And the first one that was an easy go-to was the Gladiator Rubicon, which is the Jeep pickup truck, and it's fully loaded, electronic locking differentials. It's already lifted a little bit. That was the first vehicle that we sent to the rally a couple of years ago. And we try to, we have to be mindful of budgets, right? So we stuck to some basic products. The rally has a list of requirements that are have-to-haves for safety and rescue items and stuff like that. So we outfitted the Jeep with a little bit of a lift, wheels and tires that might work well in the sand, protection for crawling over rocks. Unfortunately, that did not cover trees. So we'll work on that one maybe next time. And then, we have to carry water. We have to give traction boards and winches and extraction devices. When you're stuck in the sand, and that was actually a question I might ask you guys later on, when you're stuck on the sand, there's nothing to pull to. So we have to have a device that actually digs into the sand that gives you an anchor to pull yourself out of the sand. So we just try to send them as prepared as possible. And then this year, since we sent the second vehicle, we were unable to provide a second vehicle. So our friends over at Magna Exteriors provided the Wrangler Sport. A little bit of a different animal than the Rubicon Gladiator. So it's a smaller, shorter wheelbase 2-door Wrangler Sport that we put a lift kit on and some tires to help it get through the sand. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles of the Rubicon, but I think it's still a relatively capable Jeep. And similar extraction devices and protection systems and life support, water and first aid kits and that sort of thing, and a winch and a bunch of extra lights and a ton of storage space, because that Jeep was loaded down with extras. So that's it about the Jeeps. Great vehicles, and I think you guys may have gotten stuck once or twice, so I'd like to hear about that.
Did you guys ever find the linkage for the Gladiator, for the sway bar that might have come off the car?
No, yeah, I just had to buy a new one.
Okay, I left it in the passenger seat.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out how that happened too, but that's okay.
The car was making really weird noises.
Yeah, that's okay. It happens, right? That's like an expendable item, I would think.
Yeah, I know you can electronically turn off the sway bar, but we're like, all right, mechanically, we're actually just going to take the sway bar linkages off.
Take it off. Yeah, hey, that works too. That works too.
So if there was no, so hang on, Pedro. So if there was no budget, like we could do whatever we wanted to, what vehicle would you want to be out in the desert doing the Rebel with? I mean, that's a question we've got somebody's asked. So Olivia, let's start with you. What would it be?
I know exactly. I would do the Bronco Sport Raptor.
Okay, and there are quite a few out there, I know.
Yeah, and just seeing them drive through the shorter and like wider wheelbase that they had, it seemed like they had a lot less when they hit those whoops in the sand and on kind of dirt 2-track and stuff. They were not nose diving, kind of like our Gladiator would, and like they just found a better kind of like flow. I think the wider wheelbase helped.
Sure.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you could see the difference in the driving.
You could. And listen, all those vehicles that are out there are monster vehicles. They do really, really well. But there's some, because of the terrain that you're in is just so different, right? Anyone else want to add to that?
Yeah. I agree. The Bronco.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that was also the general consensus out there. A lot of people kind of came to that conclusion.
Yeah.
ICE EV didn't matter. ICE EV.
Actually,
ICE.
Okay.
Completely.
I think I would like to add something, because I think it's pretty different on my side. I would like to drive a vehicle which we are developing in Austria. So maybe the Mercedes G-Class, the G-Wagon. Also, it would be nice if we could go with an electrical one, because there are no European cars in the rally. The most of them were the US cars, and I think
we have to work on that. We're going to have to work on that. For those that don't know, Magna built the Mercedes G-Class in Austria well over 40 years, I think, and so we might have to have a talk with our customers and see if we can get one of those vehicles for one of the next times. That's a great idea. Great comment.
I'm glad that's not my budget.
No, we could do a test trip.
Yeah, right. Patrick, you were going to ask something and then I cut you off, so I apologize.
No, that's okay. I was just going to ask, Kirsten, talk to me about getting stuck in the sand, or anyone else that wants to jump in. What was that like, and were you able to get yourselves out?
Well, it was painful, but I mean, we got one stuck. I don't even know anymore where it was, but we were trying to get ourselves out, and eventually when somebody came by and said, you need some help, we actually were able to use our winch on their vehicle, and then were able to pull us out. Like with the traction boards, like our wheels were just spinning. We couldn't really, we were like totally unsuccessful. And then so that was actually a success story where we got ourselves out, and just after we got ourselves out, another team came the opposite direction and got stuck in almost the same spot, and so then we were able to help them out too. And then there was, I think it was, the second last day, we were getting stuck in the sand dunes, and we were digging and digging. Like, we spent probably about 2 hours trying
Oh
to
my
get
gosh.
ourselves out of this stuck situation. And we used the pull buddy, the
Yep.
anchor that you had just mentioned, and it was really successful when we were training in Michigan in the sand dunes there. But the sand dunes in California were like very different, because like when we hooked our winch up to the pull buddy, we could see the pull buddy disappear in the dune.
Oh
And
my god.
then we got the car moving a little bit, but then we had to dig for the pull buddy like crazy. So
And you had to recover the recovery stuff, yeah.
yeah. So after 2 hours, we decided to use our sat phone and call for help.
Uh,
I think it's funny. A couple of years ago, when we sent Michelle and Cherie, they didn't have a lot of experience. We didn't know what we didn't know, so we didn't get them like full proper training. And by the end of the competition, I think every Rebelle Rally organizer knew Cherie and Michelle by name. I swear they knew them by name. And I just get the feeling that this year it was a little bit different with you four. They probably knew who the Magna team, but not quite like it was a couple of years ago. I think you probably made a really strong impression on the Rebelle Rally organizers this year. And I'm so proud of you. We've got a couple, probably about 10 more minutes left. We've got a couple of questions. One of them, one we want to end with for sure. One just came in through the chat here. And you kind of talked about it a little bit, especially with your beef, this, why we're here, the Be Friends and Have Fun piece. But the question is about a moment that each of you might have had when things were really wrong, or you got stuck, or you got lost, or you hit the tree in the mirror and it's in the back, you can't even see it anymore, right? Like, how do you pull yourselves out of that? And I'm sure you all face similar situations probably in your day-to-day job or personal lives too. It's not just being in the desert, but, and maybe Olivia, will start with you. Like, how do you're really, all of you are quite positive people, but every time I talk to Olivia, like I think obviously she is the most energetic, positive person I've met, right? Like, and all of you have that same quality, but how do you pull yourself out of it?
It's funny you say that, because I kind of tend to laugh at my misfortunes, and Lindy was doing the same. And so we had some, I don't want to say near-death experiences, but things got pretty scary at times. For example, when we were driving and I heard a big bang, and then we pull the car over, and then I looked to see like what that banging noise was, and the winch had actually gone into free spool. So the winch is that pulley that's on the front of the vehicle. And so it had actually released, it hit the ground, and it went under the car, and it went about 4.5 feet under the car. And that could have caught on the ground. It could have caught on our axle, our tire, and just gone out till it pulled tight, and it could have like flipped the car.
Oh, gosh.
And so it had actually gone under, and it caught on our skid plate right beside the drive shaft. And I'm looking, I'm like, oh, that could have been really bad. And I look at Lindy and I'm like, Lindy, we could have died. So we laugh things off, but we're like, okay, that was scary. That's our way of coping. We laugh at things. But like, okay, reminder, let's check this every day. Let's make sure that, that we double check this. But like, stuff happens, and you have to be resourceful with what you've got. And at the end of the day, you don't have a cell phone to call your spouse or your best friend, and you have to kind of find a way to cope. And Lindy and I just tended to laugh at everything. Even if it was like a dire situation, we just start kind of like crying with laughter.
Or Lindy saying, please don't be mad at me, but I think I got us lost.
Yeah. You kind of have to own up to your mistakes pretty quickly. We kind of had an agreement early on, because it's not like we really know each other, so we don't know each other's personalities enough to navigate when like Olivia's frustrated or something like that. So we talked early on that I need to know right now. If you're upset with me, I don't need you to sit there and get more frustrated and more frustrated and more frustrated. And then we have this big blow up because you just don't have time to manage that. Like you're doing too much other things. And so we were just really, really open and honest about the frustrating moments. And like, this really frustrated me. What can we do to make it better? And when someone would get frustrated, even if it was Olivia's hard on herself, right? When something happens, she can get really, really hard on herself. And we just tried to do a lot of positive encouragement. You know, you're doing really well driving, or you killed that, killed that flag, you know, because it's hard enough just going through the event. You really need that support system out of your partner.
Yeah.
There was a lot of car karaoke.
Yes.
Sure.
Video.
We didn't have
Where's
any
the video?
music. Yeah.
We had no music, so it probably didn't sound good, but we did it.
Kat, Kirsten, anything to add to that before we move on to the next? Okay.
Well,
sorry, Kirsten.
Yeah, but also my spiritual practice, you know, so when you're feeling like really so, you know, you just kind of say some prayer internally, and then that also kind of helps you get through tough situations.
You know, I'm interested. Did you ladies see each other like during the day? You had different routes, I think, right? Or did you just kind of see each other at night? The two teams.
Yes. Sometimes we saw each other, but not very often.
You didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes we were driving in opposite directions past each other, and I'm like, wait a second.
I think that was
Are we going the wrong way, or are they going the wrong way?
Well, we had different start times too, so we would you would have to just get on, and then all the checkpoints had very. I mean, it turns out it was pretty tight opening and closing points in the end. It seems like you have a few hours, but in the end, like when you're trying to get from A to B, the time goes by very quickly, and so you'll be on your way, and so sometimes we saw each other along the trail, and sometimes we didn't. But usually in the evening, we got to see each other at dinner time.
Yeah, and there's a great question here, and you don't really think about this until you're on the ground with some of these things. But you mentioned the cows, but snakes, scorpions, like, did you see anything else that was out there? Did you think about that when you're setting your tent up and you're sleeping at night? Like,
you think about that when you go to the bathroom a lot of times, because you go to the bathroom behind the bush or beside the tire or something like that. And so you think about that when you're getting ready to get close to the ground.
Yep.
And you definitely
Kirsten definitely had some fun with some scorpions.
Yeah. That was actually our last morning when we were just packing up at Glamis. And I was packing my tent and trying to get it all back in the tent bag. And then I almost grabbed the little scorpion trying to run into my tent bag there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so
and
that
we
was
also saw a tarantula.
Yep.
Oh my God. Oh.
Right in our that was at base camp 3 when we saw that one. That was right near our campsite. Fortunately, at that point we were done camping.
Yeah. There were all these holes all over the ground at base camp 1. If you guys remember, like at the ranch, those little holes were everywhere. And I set the tent up, and then I look around, I'm like, what are all these holes? In the middle of the night, there were these kangaroo mice that would come out. So it looks like their back legs are like kangaroo legs, and they would hop. And they were everywhere. They were all over the field that we were camping in.
Yeah, and every time when you went to the bathroom, all of a sudden something was like dashing in front of you.
Right over your feet.
Yeah.
See, like, these are the things that we probably shouldn't have you guys say that, you ladies say that.
I was thinking the same thing.
Next time we're going to go right down if any women in Magna are listening to this, right?
They were cute.
It was fine. It was fine.
Confident, you know. No, I'm just kidding. But these are the backstories that we love to hear. And we are almost out of time. And so I have to ask you, Patrick's going to close us out here, but I have to ask you, this Rebelle Rally is, I mentioned in the open, it's the first women's off-road. It is all women, right? And I think that in itself is important. But I want to hear from all of you on why you think it's important for women such as yourselves or other people in Magna or outside of even our own company. Why is it important for women to do something like this? Kirsten, let's start with you.
Well, it puts us in the driver's seats and gives us give us an opportunity to do things that we would have never done in our everyday lives. And so it helps you to see your own great potential. And especially being in all women event, it challenges your own, it challenges yourself more than even against all the other participants in the rally. So yeah,
Great.
it was
I bet. Kat, what about you?
So really, that's a very interesting question. And I started to think about that when I realized that the conversation I had about the rally with my male colleagues were very different from those with my female colleagues. Because the guy said, "Oh, that's so cool. I would do it also. I would like to do that. And it's a shame only women can participate." And the woman said, "Wow, I could never do that. And do you think really you are able to handle all of this?" And I would think about it and say, hey, the women so doubt themselves, and especially when it comes to areas that are male domain. And that makes me really, really sad.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I hope by sharing our story that we inspire some women to push past their doubts and realize that they are more capable than they might think.
Yep.
So, yeah, I was
I
thinking
think that's a very valid point. And I think, you know, obviously every individual has their own circumstances. I know, Katharina, like you had to travel from Austria. You have young kids at home. And this isn't just 8 days, right? Like it takes time. There's the training. There's actually, we send you out there. It's actually 10 or 11 days and you can't talk to family. Like you can't reach out to your kids and things. So I think it's daunting as a mother of 3, it's daunting for me to think about, right? And maybe I have a different perspective and that maybe you do of one of our male colleagues because of those other factors that play in. So I think that's a very good point. And I hope people are listening and say, yeah, I can do this. Like I can do this. I want to do this. I want to push myself to these limits. So I want to give Lindy and Olivia a chance to answer the same question, and then Patrick will throw it out here.
Yeah.
I thought it was amazing to be with a bunch of other women. I've spent 15 plus years doing high performance driving on road courses, and there's never women out there. And if there is women, it's like 1 or 2. And what it turns into is you are now the spotlight. When you're out there driving, you become the spotlight. And I think it was really nice just to be a part of a group where everybody is doing the same thing and you're figuring out together and you're helping each other when you need help. It was very motivating for me to be around a lot of women who are just like the same mindset as me. Just like, you can do this. Anybody can go and do something really hard. All you have to do is just really push yourself to do it. And I think that it was a true testament to see all these women out there doing that. We become very reliant on men to do mechanical things for us, I feel like. And we don't need them to change our tire, and we don't need them to, fix our winch. We can do those things, right?
That's
we
right.
could do all of those things ourselves. You just have to get in there and get dirty and enjoy it because you're strong.
Yeah. Yep. Olivia, last word from you.
I think my fiance is the one who introduced me to off-roading, and so he's got a Jeep, and I would always, let him drive and do that, and I would do some stuff here and there, but he was primarily the one that really did it. And then I think this came up, and I got to a point where I'm like, I'm tired of being passenger princess. I'm ready to throw down and send some stuff. And I wasn't sure if I was capable, but this definitely showed me that I am more than capable, and all these women are more than capable, and we can do so much if we just try. And it's time to get out of that passenger seat, ladies.
Yeah.
You can, like, I can't thank you enough for submitting, supporting, being excellent role models within our company. I can't thank you enough. Patrick, I can't thank you enough, because we couldn't do this without you and the team getting those Jeeps ready. And I mean, it's a collective effort.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
We're gonna do more of this. So thank you. And Patrick, I'm gonna leave it with you to close us out here.
Yeah, no problem, Tracy. Thanks to you also for bringing this opportunity to the company and us and all the ladies here at Magna. I think it's awesome. We love to support it. Full support from our side. Thank you for incredible ladies on this line today, Kirsten, Kat, Lindy, and Olivia, for sharing your stories. I think it's awesome. I think we picked some incredible people to go out and experience this year, and I really hope these stories haven't scared other participants away from applying next year. I think it's an awesome opportunity.
We've motivated them.
Yeah, I think it's an awesome opportunity, and I'm just glad that you guys A, survived, B, came back in one piece and didn't hurt the Jeeps too bad. But it's really inspiring to hear about your experiences and the challenges that you guys overcame. We appreciate your time, and we look forward to seeing what you guys accomplish next. I know I follow most of you or all of you on social media, so it's always fun to see what you guys are up to. Until then, keep pushing boundaries, inspiring others with your journey, and thanks to everyone for listening. We appreciate your time, and don't be afraid to step up and apply next year. We'd love to see twice as many applications. Yeah. So until next time, guys, thank you all.
Yeah, thanks all for listeting.
Well, and thank you, Magna, for giving us this opportunity.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Have a great